Required for this job are going to be a couple of trim pry tools. These are just plastic, 3/8 ratchet, a T30 Torx. This might be optional. I like it just because there's a couple concave sections to the engine cover, so a little extension for the 3/8, a stubby, a Phillips, and a regular Phillips. This is more of a modification. I don't know if you guys will want to do it. I'll show you what I did as far as clipping a couple tabs and a flashlight just for inspection, and the air filter itself. Hi, today we're working on a Porsche Cayman S. This is a 987. We're going to be changing the engine air filter. Fold both your seats forward. Grab the trim pry tools and start from the front. If you have it, remove your little cargo net. Put it to the side. And then really there's two tabs that are the big ones that are back here in both edges. So you want to start at the front. Just kind of wedge it in, lift up. Once you lift up, see if you can get the other side. You might even be able to. If not, leave leave the trim tool here. Lift this guy up. All right. From there, see how it's propped up? You should just simply pull up here, and the other side comes up, and pull towards the front of the car. So put it forward, and set it sideways, and you're out. Make sure you have a place to put it. The T30 Torx. There's 5 screws. So those 2 that you saw me loosen there. This one here, dead center, and 2 in the passenger side corners. There. And here. So this covers what separates your engine compartment from the cabin. It does have a rubber seal around the edge, so be careful to make sure it's clean when you put it back. You don't want any exhaust gas or oil fumes to be getting into the cabin. Alright, so once these are out, these are all the same. You don't need to worry about separating them. All 5 of these screws match. And depending on how often you open this thing, this could be a little tight. You can use the trim pry tools to get up under a lip. I worked on this car recently, so nothing sealed down. This is a gasket that you have along that edge. So your air box. Air intake box. There's 2 Phillips screws, one here, one here. This is just an inspection plate or cover, whatever you call it. This is where, well, this car's got 30,000 miles, so, and I inspected it a little while ago, and it's time to change it out. That, of course, will vary depending on where you drive it. So, out it goes. Now that we can see the filter itself, this is where you would look at it and say, oh, it looks perfectly clean, let's leave it, or it's time to change it out. If you decide to change it out, this Phillips screw here is all that holds it in. So, loosen this guy. This is where I can talk about the modification that I did. The tab that I was talking about. See how it's chewed up? I took a pair of snips and cut it down to make it easier to pull the filter out. I slide it back and then slide it forward just to, break it loose. So slide it back, get your thumb under the front, and just pop. So this requires a bit of finesse. You can flex this up a little. It helps you maneuver the filter out. It does have this protective webbing. So don't know if you saw that, but just to get it to an angle, pull it up, and out it comes. So when you get to this point, what you have to clear is this. So slide it forward, wiggle it back. There we go. Just a little patience. So filter. Notice it's got this plastic piece, this bracket. It's got a screw here. Take your screwdriver, just take it off. And these tabs, press down on them. There we go, out one, and out the other. If there's an up or a down, I think it's symmetrical, so simply line it back up, press the tabs in, and replace the screw. Cool. So make sure this speed nut's facing up. Drop down. Again, you can pull up on the plastic air box to try to give yourself a little more clearance. Yeah, this is the whole time. Be careful not to put excessive force on the filter. You might bend a fin on the paper element. Once you're down, okay, new filter's in. Yeah, I'm just feeling the edge of the flange, making sure it's got a clean surface. If it's a little extra dirty, you could take a wet paper towel and wipe it off. It feels okay. It doesn't feel dirty, so on it goes. So just the same way that you pulled it off, line it up. There we go. Yeah, so once it's seated on the flange, pull it towards the back of the car, make sure it's fully seated, and replace the Phillips screw. This is just a detail you need to pay attention to. You can lose a couple horsepower here. No, but I'm serious. It's best to have the engine be breathing air from the outside on the side intake. So you don't want it to be, for instance, if I were to leave this off or leave it open like that, the air filter would be drawing air from this hot engine compartment. What would you rather have? Cold air, cold dense air, or hot engine compartment air? So you get to choose. So once you get to about this point, you can almost feel when it starts to catch. So if you wiggle it back and forth, the bottom one, there, and then you can run your finger along the edge, make sure it's got a good seal. Replace your screws. And time to replace the cover. So this is a good time to inspect the body of the car. Make sure you didn't drop any, pieces of plastic or a little rock, or I don't know what you have in here, depending on what you carry in the back of the car. So once you're sure it's pretty clean, and same with the gasket on this side, do the nose end first, then the tail end. Give it a wiggle. You might nail it on the first shot. It just falls into place. And replace your torque screws. So treat this like anything with a gasket. Tighten the screws incrementally, first by hand. You know, don't put a ton of torque on one first and then have the cover start to get lopsided on you. Yeah, if you've put a valve cover on, you know what you're doing. But the idea is to not bend the thin cover. It's just thin metal, so get them all tight by hand, put a little bit of torque on them, and then come back around and give them the final tightening. It's not a ton, just whatever torque it took to take them off. That's about as much as you want to put back on. So keep in mind that you're tightening a rubber gasket, so you'll eventually get to the point where you're deforming it rather than tightening and being helpful. Alright, one last check on the other two. Ready? Once the engine cover is on, time to put the carpet and sound insulation. I just kind of lay it sideways that way. The only thing you'll have to pay attention to is these little eyelets. So you have to line up the back tabs first, make sure the eyelets are up, and before you drop down the front, pull the eyelets up so you'll be able to get to them, pull them up all the way once the cover comes down. So there we go. Just give it a nice push. It's on. And it's done. Hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any tips on how to do things faster or more efficiently, and hope you enjoyed it.